We have Vinnie Paz on the line with us live.
Yes, sir.
Vinnie Paz of the world-famous Jedi mind tricks. Vinnie, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. The snow just started out here in Philly. It looks like I'm going to be buried in the crib for the weekend.
Oh, man. Yeah, you know what? We're up here in CT right now. We're expecting it in probably a few hours. And, you know, there's something kind of chill, something kind of cool about being snowed in, though.
There is. I mean, especially if you're a homebody. You know what I mean? I tour a lot, so it's like when I'm in Philly, you know, I tend to stay in and chill, just watch some hoops, some boxing, you know what I mean, and chill with some friends. So it's not really the end of the world to me. I guess when you're younger, you know, you want to go out. You know what I mean? So it might put a damper on some of that for the younger heads, but I'm good with it. I have my food and I have some Grey Goose, so I'm good.
Absolutely, man. Now listen, so your career has definitely been long, and there's so many different ways that we could go into, you know, so I don't even really know where to start, but I mean, I think you guys officially came on the scene with Violent by Design.
Well, I guess that was what would be perceived as the first national release with real distribution, you know what I mean? We had an EP and an LP before that, but it was like self-funded and self-distributed. So, I mean, I think a good part of the world sees Violent by Design as our entry into the game. That was 2000. We had an EP in 96 and LP in 97. But like I said, they were self-financed and self-distributed. Stoop and I have been in a group since 92, so you're going back 24 years now. Yeah, I mean, I was like 14 years old. He was 17 or 18, you know, I just turned 38, so it's, I mean, but in terms of our first release as Jedi Mind Tricks, in our heads, it was 1996, so it's our 20th year. But I mean, it's not wrong to say what you said, that you know, maybe in the public eye, that Violent by Design is really, you know, the record that moved the needle for us, you know? Absolutely.
Now, I mean, you know, you had mentioned your age, and we're talking about how long you've been in the game. Does it surprise you? I mean, do you still kind of sit back sometimes and you're like, damn, I can't believe how long I have been in the game with all the ups and downs, with, you know, with you know, what's his name coming and going and whatever it is. Have you been amazed at how long you've been able to sustain yourself in hip hop?
I think being raised the way that I was, you know, by South Philly Italians, there was just this. They tried to instill humility in me and everything. So really recently, like early in the week, my business partner and I were like, yo, we never really ever pat ourselves on the back, you know what I mean? I'm not the delusional rapper on Twitter that talks about he's great all day and all that, you know what I mean? There's just, I don't know if it's from where I came from. Some of it is upbringing. Some of it is the fact that I was always into punk rock and hardcore music and metal music, and there's a bit more humility is celebrated there, a bit more than in hip hop. You know what I mean? Hip hop is a very braggadocio, ego-driven culture. You know what I mean? I just never sort of. It's not. I won't use the word play into that because confidence is a great thing, you know what I mean? But I mean, I think like you never really see a shift in our sound. We had major label offers over and over and over again, and we never took them. So I think you can look at someone and say, all right, can you say Jedi Mind Tricks to someone's grandma and they know who they are? And the answer is no. And then you might take somebody else had a quote-unquote hit. I don't know if you remember, like a couple summers ago, that White Girl Creation was like.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
That California movement.
Exactly, and now the IRS just took everything she owns.
Oh.
Her record sold. She had $1 million budget and was on a major label, and her record sold 3,000 prints the week that it came out. It's one of the biggest bombs in the history of the music business. So it's like, to me, everything is the Matrix, bro. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they have this many Twitter followers. They have this many IG followers. And I'm like, well, can you go and do 40 shows sold out in Europe in big venues? Because I can. You know what I mean? And again, I'm only saying that because you're asking me about it, not because it's my nature.
No, absolutely. You know what I mean? And the amount of fans that you have overseas, like you said, to be able to do 40 sold out shows in a different country. I mean, what do you think that is? Do you think that's your longevity in the game? Is it the continued quality and lyricism that you bring on the mic? Is it a combination of everything? Because I mean, marketing. I don't ever really see too much marketing from Vinnie Paz and Jedi Mind Tricks. It's really all word of mouth, I feel like.
Yeah, it's. I think that's sort of the punk rock aesthetic. And the guys that I worked with for all of these years have sort of respected that, even though they didn't come from punk rock or hardcore heavy metal background. They sort of respected it when I explained to them how it got down and how bands like Fugazi have never in their 25, 26, 27-year career have never made merchandise. They would only charge $5 to get into their shows. They were never on a major, yet they would still somehow manage to sell hundreds of thousands of units and be able to tour. You know what I mean? So I was just, from the beginning, I was like, look, let's try it this way and see if it's applicable to hip-hop, you know? So, but to get back to your question specifically to Europe, I think that there is they're much more respectful of the culture, in the sense that a 16-year-old kid in Scandinavia will know who EPMD is. A 16-year-old kid in Philly, Connecticut, wherever, will not. You know, sometimes a promoter will say, after the show, let's go to the club, you know, drinks on me or whatever, and I'm a late night guy, so I'll go just to hang out, you know what I mean, and listen to music. And whereas if me and you went out tonight on a Friday night, we know what will be played in the club, you know what I mean? It's not a bad thing, it's just we know what it would be. It would be a lot of trap stuff, which I'm into. I'm into some of that stuff, but we pretty much know what to be into. At 3 a.m. in Switzerland, there could be a packed dance floor of beautiful girls, and they'll be Frank De La Soul. It's like, bro, it's like Bizarro World.
It's backwards.
It is. It's backwards, and it's good. It's good for people like me and you. Again, I'm a proponent of philosophy that everything has its place. You know what I mean? If you have a couple drinks and there's girls there that want to dance to Chief Keef, then by all means, let's go. You know what I mean? It's like, everything has its place, man. Bad pop music has its place. It's like, because it's no love without hate. There's no peace without war. You know, you can't always like. And the other thing I have an issue with is like people being like, "Oh, rap is terrible nowadays. Oh, that's what's blowing up." Like, me, in 1990, Hammer and Vanilla Ice were at the top of the pop charts. Like, you're acting like this didn't happen before. It's always happened. There's always been Tone Loc. There's always been, you know what I mean, Young MC. There's always been MC Hammer. There's always been Blue Jack swing rap. It's like, what's the difference, really? You know what I mean?
And if you're just tuning in, you are listening to Psych Word Radio Show, and on the line we got Vinnie Paz from the world-famous Jedi Mind Tricks. So, Vinnie, let me ask you, now, the Jedi Mind Trick albums, along with your solo albums, I mean, there's a bit of a difference there. It seems like on your solo albums, you are more prone to step out and go with some more heavy hitters in hip hop, right? Like some more well-known people, from Mobb Deep to Pusha T. What is the difference to you between the two, Jedi Mind Tricks and Vinnie Paz as a solo artist?
Well, I think when you look at like Stoop and I being together as long as we have been, and you create this aesthetic and the sound, and you expound on it and expand it if you can, you know, and try to update it, but nonetheless, there becomes a sound. No matter who your favorite groups are, historically, it's like De La had a sound, Tribe had a sound, Abdeep has a sound. It's like, you know what I mean? So in terms of those, in terms of when we do Jedi, it's we sort of know what's expected of us, and within that within that realm, we try to, you know, make it better or update it, so to speak. You know what I mean? But when I started with the solo stuff, I was like, well, in my personal life, in terms of my personal taste, what do I listen to? Well, I tend to listen to Mobb Deep. I tend to listen to the Clips. I tend to listen to some trap stuff, some rap stuff, some drill stuff. So it was more or less me like, let me reach out to these dudes that I respect, and you know, if it's a mutual admiration society, then let's work. You know, and let's not. I mean, for me to just try to replicate what I do with Stoop and with Jedi, to me would be counterproductive. You know what I mean? So it's like, but there's also like, you don't want to throw a curveball either and come out with something that's totally offensive or something. You know what I mean? So it's like, of course, there's a fine line, but I mean, I think the biggest thing, like you mentioned, you know, the MCs I work with, but for me, I think the biggest difference is the production, because Stoop and I have been partners, like I said, since '92. So it's like there's a definite sound there. So I know I wanted to say, all right, well, sonically, this has to be different. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, I mean, the list of MCs that you've worked with, obviously, you know, is long and it's rich with underground legends. Is there an artist out there that maybe we would be surprised to hear? You know, whether if they're kind of more pop or you know, someone alive. Is there someone that you want to work with that you have yet to work with?
I think anyone that I haven't worked with that I want to work with just wouldn't be realistic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I think Jay is one of the great. Jay is top 5 ever to me, but is me doing a song with Jay-Z realistic? Let's just be realistic. When I was naive, you know what I mean? When I was a naive teenager, naive in my 20s, maybe I thought that was something that's realistic. But you're talking about a guy who has, you know, he basically has gone. I'm at a loss for the word. It's not coming to me, but he's bigger than hip hop.
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
There's, you know, and then when you get into artists like that who have, you know, who have worked with pop artists or you know what I'm saying? You're dealing with a dude who's between him and his wife worth probably $1 billion. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, legends to me, it's like people who formulated my character and who I am as a rapper. Cool G Rap to me is the best ever. I've worked with him multiple times. I mean, Scarface, the Ghetto Boys were amazing to me. I worked with Face, you know what I mean? Huge fan of Clips, did a joint with them. So it's like,
so is it guys like Cool G Rap and Scarface that blow you away more than anything when they're like, when they acknowledge that, yo, yeah, I know Vinny's music, I know what's up with Jedi Mind Tricks? Is it those kind of guys that just like, wow?
Yeah, because unless you become jaded, which, I mean, some parts of the some aspects of my career you become jaded with, but you never, if you're a real artist, you never stop being a fan. So it's like, for me, Cool G did an interview like a couple years ago, and they asked him who he was listening to, and he named like 5 people, and one of them was me. You know what I mean? And
wow.
my favorite rapper of all time. So it's like, I can't not nerd out to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's because the 13, 14, 15-year-old me still lives inside me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
absolutely.
I'm still a fan. So it's those kind of things that you can never put, that along with the longevity of the career and the blessing to be able to do this for a living, to take care of my mom and my son and my family by making music, it's those things that nobody can ever take away from you. You know what I mean? No naysayer, nobody can ever take away the fact that I have respect for my peers. You know what I'm saying? Not the kid in his basement in Iowa who talks reckless behind a fake screen name. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's, you have to differentiate. So it's like, for me, that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate, is to have been, to gain the respect of my peers over all these times. You know what I'm saying? Like, to all people, and people I become friends with, not just work with, but, you know, the fact that I become friends with dudes like Razcat, you know what I mean? and Tragedy Gaddafi and people that we just text each other about life. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like all of that is just still surreal to me because I'm still that kid that was writing rhymes and pretending to be Steady B and Cool C in the mirror. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And you had mentioned, some kid in Iowa sitting behind a screen talking junk. Now, have you seen those things on, I think it's Jimmy Kimmel that he does when celebrities read mean tweets that were tweeted at them?
Well, I'm a huge Kimmel fan, and I have seen it. And I think it's brilliant, and I think any of the celebrities that do it have a lot of balls to do that. And
so if you were to read one or two of those, what are one or two like tweets from either haters or little punks or whoever that you just seem to be regular things that you just kind of get that you either block them or just block them out, or what's something that you think you would read?
I don't know that there's like a specific sentiment that's repeated. You know what I mean? And again, we're on radio. We're on live radio. Usually,
some curse words.
Contains some cursing. It's usually the little egg on Twitter with no face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And no bio and no where you from, and you know what I mean? Because it's when you come from a different era, man. If someone talks reckless, you slap them in the face. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to I'm not advocating violence. I'm just saying how I got down when I was younger. You know what I mean? So it's like, like I'm a boxing fanatic. You know what I'm saying? Like my real fans know that. I cover boxing for like one of the biggest boxing sites, and like the boxing journalism is something that I've been doing now for years, and it's like my passion. If a fight's on the East Coast, I'm there, and like, just little like, Mr. Boxing, I'll whoop your ass and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Man, like clearly you're young and stupid, or maybe you're older and stupid. But I'm like, I know when I was younger, like I was chasing girls, trying to find someone to buy me someone illegally buy me liquor so I could go hang out, or you know what I'm saying, or go to a house party. So these are things that I was doing. So like, how could I ever let that? It's so sad, really. You know what I mean? It's so I feel so sad for those people, man. You know what I mean? It's just, man, this is what you have to do with your life. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Now, and I ask a lot of musicians this, and they hate to do it. They say it's like rating which one of your kids you like the most. So I'm not going to ask you what your favorite project out of anything you've done is. So let me ask you, if there was one album that maybe looking back, you're like, maybe I should have scrapped that one, or maybe, that wasn't as strong as the rest of the bunch. Which one out of all of them, out of all that lyricism, out of all those syllables that you flipped, which one out of all those albums you feel might be your weakest?
I mean, I don't think it might be. I think it's definitely, it was called A History of Violence.
Okay.
We were in a label situation that we hated. We hated everything about it. We hated the relations. We hated that we were getting ripped off. And we knew that was our last record that we had to turn into that label. So I don't want to say it was rushed, but there was a sense of urgency to get the hell out of that situation. You know what I mean? And to me, I hear that in the record. You know what I mean? Now, if you look historically, and it's crazy that happened to me personally, because I look back historically and have seen people ask this question, if not worded the same way, maybe, kind of the same question. And I'd say 50% of the artists that answered said the same thing. Like, they won't maybe say a major label. Like, I owe Columbia Records one last record, so I just wanted to get in and out and get it delivered. You know what I mean? I mean, in retrospect, I don't know that it's something I can control, because I'm very emotional, and logic is always in direct conflict with my emotion. You know what I mean? It's why I have a very logical business partner, because I tend to fly off at the handle. So maybe it's like, even though that's the reason, and I'm giving you a truthful answer and a truthful reason, maybe I should have thought about other things like my legacy and the fans and just giving it all I had. But I think in my head at that time, I was giving it all I had. I was just drained, you know what I mean, from a long, treacherous relationship. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, it could be draining. I get that.
Yeah, well, it just drained the hell out of me, and I'm just and those things, like you know when people say like, yeah, I wrote that record, I was very sad, and it's people's favorite record. It's like, if I'm not in a good place, I'm not the kind of person that can articulate being in a bad place via good music. I just don't want to do anything. I don't want to write. Whereas other people say, oh, when I'm depressed, I write. When I'm in that zone, I'm just on some later life JD Salinger, like disappear. You know what I mean? Like disappear.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Vinny, we got to wrap it up, but you have a lot of fans up here in Connecticut. I know you've been to Toad's Place. Any final words for our listeners out there?
No, but I'm just really appreciative that you had me on the show. I appreciate you being a good journalist and interviewer, because it's a dying art. And Connecticut's always shown us so much love, the Northeast in general. I'm sure we'll be back at Toad soon. And, you know, I'm just blessed to have y'all support me for this long. So I just wanted to say thank you to everybody.
Absolutely, Vinny. We've been trying to get you on for a hot minute, so I'm glad we're finally able to make it happen. It was a pleasure having you on Psych Word, man.
Let's do it again, man. Thank you.
All right. Vinnie Paz from Jedi Mind Tricks, man. And for any of those that our fans, and I know we have a lot in the New Haven and Connecticut area, he is absolutely, without a doubt, a legend. And the amount of work that he's put down is bar none, second to none, man. So we have no time left. DJ Chris Rush, any final words?